everybody, and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. One of my biggest questions that I always get from you guys are, can I actually copy trade you, and how do I follow along with your portfolio in a way where I'm a lot more hands-on? Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys a way that you can actually copy my exact trades that I'm going to be taking on the base chain, looking at all of the new volume that's been growing over in this chain, outpacing many of the other layer 1s and 2s out there. I believe that base is going to see some of the most retail adoption going into this next run into new all-time highs. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you find any value in this video, please do me a favor, hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. And without further ado, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so right off the bat, the project that I want to talk about today is Velvet Capital. This is a project that's going to allow you to copy trade every single one of the trades that I'm taking on the base chain and actually build a portfolio. So I've already gone ahead and deposited 500 bucks into this portfolio. I've made a basket of 5 tokens that I really think are going to outperform on the base chain itself. And this is going to be a way for you guys to actually be able to copy trade. All you have to do is deposit into the vault, and then it's going to automatically allocate you to the tokens based off of the way that I have it set in the portfolio. One of the biggest questions, like I said, was how do I actually copy trade you, or will you actually trade money for me? That's one of the most common questions I get, which obviously I can't legally do that, but it's fun because through the blockchain and through these new DeFi protocols that are emerging, we have the way to be able to, not only copy trade, but you're going to be able to actually have a portfolio that I'm more or less tracking, managing, and then whenever I want to buy or sell something or move into something else, it'll just automatically do that. And anytime you want to actually withdraw that, you can withdraw it straight to your wallet. So based off of how much you deposit, that's your share of the pool. That's the share of the rewards that you're going to get anytime I actually take profits. And on top of that, if you deposit into this, that actually sets you up for a free airdrop. So I think that that's going to be a really cool opportunity for anybody that wants to copy trade, for anybody that wants a free airdrop in the process, because that's been one of the biggest questions. Now, these are the 5 coins that I'm going to be talking about today. I wanted to go through, map them out, and share with you guys exactly what I see inside of these charts, why I put them inside of the portfolio, and what I'm expecting moving forward over the next couple months. Now, first one on today's list is going to be Degen. Now, this is going to be a new chain that is launched on the Coinbase chain, and they consider themselves to be a layer 3, but this is ultimately just kind of like a chain for memes at the end of the day. But it's seen a big rise once base actually got a little bit of adoption going over the last few months. Really, like 6 months ago was when we had a lot of running in base. But as a whole, we're looking at so much volume flooding into the entire base chain. And when we actually take the time to look at what the TVL and how much it's growing on base compared to some of these other chains, you'll see how much bigger it actually is. If we're coming and looking at the 1 month change in TVL and we're scrolling down, you're going to notice that base is sitting at 56%. And if we look down here, there's very few chains that are actually higher than that. Aptos is one. Sui is actually behind it, but it is very close to that same point. And if you're looking down here, the next closest one would be Pulse Chain after. So when we're looking at all of the different chains and how they're performing, base has seen the biggest and most consistent growth so far this entire month. And when I'm looking at the entirety of the token list, this is going to be one that I think is a safer pick. This is going to be one with a little bit of a higher market cap, more of a mid cap type play. But when I'm picking out of all of these tokens, the other 4 are going to be a lot more undervalued. This one is one that I have confidence will make a decent run when we break out, and it kind of already has done so. So we're just pretty much trusting the trend that's already been placed in front of us. Looking at this chart, we've already finished our first Elliott wave cycle, and our entire last move was just our 1 wave. It was our first 5-wave rise that we had ever had to begin this move. And then after that, we finished our ABC correction back down. We broke out of downtrending resistance, and keep in mind that we just barely broke out of downtrending resistance on the logarithmic. So when we're zooming in here, we can see that we were maintaining lower lows, lower highs. We got over closer to that downtrending resistance, and then when all this new volume came in, it was at the same point where the price broke out. So when I'm watching this, I see a couple scenarios. Scenario 1 is that this is going to be kind of creating this little zigzag type pattern before it breaks up and starts that reversal, or it could come back down, retest that support for one more low, and then start breaking out. Those are the 2 scenarios that I'm watching for, but I don't really care either way. I just took my position now, and I'm going to be looking to hold all of these and just seeing what the portfolio turns into, because I do have a lot of confidence in the entirety of base chain. This one has been the biggest outperformer up to this point. It's been the most consistent, with it being its own ecosystem for new meme coins to launch, with what I believe is going to be a lot of retail money consolidating consolidating into base as a whole, it kind of just makes a lot of sense and it fits the narrative. So this is going to be one of those that you want to be watching for. But I mean, if we just go to the prior all-time highs, even though it's got more of a mid-cap type market cap stance, you know, we're looking at this thing still being a 7.5x. So the rewards are going to be big regardless. And I do believe that this will run into the billions in market cap. It just makes the most sense. So that's Degen chain. Next up on today's list is going to be Chomp. Chomp is a project that only has 11.5 million in market cap, but it has a lot of liquidity. 2.1 million in liquidity for $11.5 million market cap is actually really solid, especially for a meme coin. And to have most of this locked, that's more or less exactly what you want to see going into here. There's no issues that you have to worry about. You can go and look at the token on Token Sniffer. It's going to be 100 out of 100, and it's got a really big community to kind of support it. Looking at this, you know, it's pretty much just following kind of your textbook example of a market cycle. 5 waves up, a big extended wave 5 into its blow off top. We've already finished the ABC correction back down, and it's probably more like this, but regardless, we already finished our correction. We've broken from downtrending resistance. That's where we're at right here, retested, and we've literally just been accumulating there ever since. In this entirety of this move, just been slowly uptrending, higher highs and higher lows. So I do believe that now is an opportunity to where every single time I've seen this dip and retest this trend line, it's bounced. So I'm going to be kind of watching for the exact same thing to play out. But these are the type of cycles I've been seeing blow up on base as a whole. Your typical big blow off top into its first cycle. That was where we saw the first rotation from basically people taking profits out of Solana on its last run and then rotating them into base, and then base ran after. So I kind of think that that's going to play out again. You know, Solana has been leading this cycle. It really is the domineering volume for the meme coins as a whole. And so I think that the money is going to rotate into base from Solana. Showing you guys the growth of the TVL in just the last month, it's already outpacing Solana. So we could see base as a whole actually just continue to outpace all of them, which is what I'm thinking is going to happen. And that's why looking at these with a lot of liquidity, low market cap, and then they're just sitting at the very ending of their accumulations, I believe that these are going to end up just slowly starting to break out and making these big runs and going into a new all-time high and creating something like this. This is generally the way that these market cycles are going to play out. And from here to an all-time high, or the prior all-time highs, is 8.5x. So we're talking some really big gains on these just returning to their all-time high levels. You know, looking at this big picture, these are going to reverse and go all the way into a new all-time high and make another one of these in just a bigger way. That's just the way that these are going to accumulate, and they're going to have big corrections after, which is why we want to take profits. But that's kind of the whole point of why I'd be able to manage this portfolio for us. I'm going to be trading it. I'm going to be watching it. So whenever I see something pop off that we need to take profits on, that's where I'm going to be doing it for you guys. Anytime you want to withdraw your profit, you can do that straight to your wallet. And, you know, I'm not going to be able to block you or anything on that because it's still your own money, which is, you know, really cool to me. Now, next up is going to be Trump or MAGA. This is going to be a really solid one because I kind of think that this is a good narrative to follow going into the elections. You know, there's going to be a lot of talk on Trump. There's going to be a lot of memes. And with that, this is pretty much just looking like your standard market cycle. At 1.7 million in market cap, 144K liquidity, you know, it's got a very small market cap, so it's not going to be very much to push the prices up and get us a lot bigger type of ROI. That's the fun part with playing these type of cycles, although there is obviously going to be more risk. But what I like about this setup is, you know, all of the base chains seem to do this, where they had these big extended wave 5s, these big blow off tops, and then they had these big sell-offs coming all the way back down, pretty much retracing everything. Now, what I see in all of these is after their big ABC corrections, every one of them broke from downtrending resistance. Broke out right there, and we've just been consolidating sideways. This entire move to me just looks like a big double bottom formation. And then once we actually get back above this resistance here, being at about 5 cents, that's where the entirety of the reversal sets in. The way double bottom formations work is once you break out of the horizontal resistance right here, that's where you really get the entirety of the reversal. And then your target's the prior all-time high. So if we were able to go from right here and go all the way back up just to the all-time highs, you know, there's almost a 9x in that move. So we're looking at some pretty big multiples, and I do believe that that's what's going to take place when we see all of these different Trump memes take off once more. It's been consolidating, holding support. I don't really see it breaking down going into the election, and with, you know, the multiples being this big, I have a lot of confidence this one's going to run, so I put it in the portfolio as a little bit more of a higher risk type of play because it is a little bit more high risk, although the reward will be massive if it plays out. Next up is going to be Tyler. Tyler's already kind of starting to reverse. When I started to record the video, it was already back down in here, so it's taking off a little bit, which is just more reason to jump into the portfolio as soon as you can. But looking at this, we had 5 waves to begin this cycle, and then we just recently finished our ABC correction back down. With the completion of that, we broke out a downtrending resistance, and now we're pretty much just making our first higher highs and higher lows. This new volume is very bullish. There's plenty of new volume to basically signal that we're going to be running into a new cycle, and that's what I'm anticipating with Tyler as a whole. You know, we're already pretty much just completing that correction that we just were in. This was just your standard A, B, and a C correction. And I do think that it's going to revisit higher levels, coming all the way back up to these range highs, and inevitably we're going to end up running into a new all-time high. So looking at Tyler, you know, it's only got 1.2 million in market cap, so it's going to be a lot more higher risk, kind of in the same position as Chomp was. But this is another one of those that's got good volume. 222K in volume is really solid. And looking at this, you know, when it was at its peak, it had millions in volume. So I wouldn't be surprised if it sees the same thing. This thing could easily 10x from these levels. And that's why I think that this is a good one to have in the portfolio. We want to have a combination of maybe what's a little bit safer with Degen, maybe what's a little bit more of, you know, kind of in the middle between Chomp. I would say that it's still a little bit Degen, but it's not quite as, you know, safe is what we would see over in this chart. But coming over here and looking at Chomp, that's higher risk. Looking at Tyler, that's a little higher risk. And even looking at the final one on today's video, I would put this one more closer in the same classification as like a Chomp, where they're sitting at 11, 10 million in market cap. Nothing too crazy, but there's still a lot of upside potential. This one's going to be fairly safe with 400K of locked liquidity. We don't have to worry about any rug pulls or anything. The reason I bought this one is because it had really good Elliott waves to start. 5-wave rise, saw your standard ABC correction back down, and then this consolidation just looks like your classical example of like a disbelief phase, where inside of this market cycle, once it completely corrects, you go through capitulation, anger, depression, and then it makes that first higher high, and nobody thinks it's going to do anything, only that's exactly where it reverses and goes into the next cycle. So I am anticipating that that's where we're at right now. I put it in the portfolio because where I initially bought this, I bought this as a signal inside of my private group, and we bought it pretty much at the exact low down in here. So with this revisiting the same point, I wanted to add it in the portfolio because I still think that this is a really good pick. But yeah, guys, all 5 of these tokens I think are going to be blowing up in a big way. Base as a whole is already seeing record-breaking volume, constantly outpacing other chains. We've already been seeing that over the last year for the most part, but now that Bitcoin's about to go into a new all-time high for the first time truly this cycle in actual price discovery, I honestly think that Base as a whole is going to see insane upside potential. So if you guys want to be able to follow along with this portfolio, I will link it in the description of this video. You guys can be able to copy trade every single one of these, and then from that point, you know, whenever I end up rotating, taking profits, moving it into something else, you guys are going to be able to, you know, just automatically do that and take your profits whenever you feel necessary. You know, you don't have to hold it indefinitely. Like, you can literally pull out your money whenever you want to. But this is just a way that I can kind of entertain the audience that's always asking me to trade their money. People always asking me for signals. And this is a fun way that I found that's also going to give us a free airdrop. So I figured that, you know, we might as well create a portfolio of tokens. Let's see how it does. This is an opportunity on the base chain that I think is really exciting. And these are all 5 tokens I think will blow up in a big way. So we'll revisit this portfolio. I'll keep making updates on it and we'll see how it performs over the time. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys that little opportunity as a way to copy trade and see how we're going to be able to make some profits together. I talk about a lot of coins. Now's the opportunity to actually be able to just follow along with a little bit more about what I'm doing on Base specifically. So if you do like it, links are in the description. If you guys did find any value, please do me a favor, hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. And with all that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.